Dressrosa, one of the most beautiful arcs of One Piece, may just be my favorite arc. From brilliant new characters, heartbreaking backstories, the return of a very special individual, and the most compelling villain of the story thus far, this arc has surpassed my expectations and solidified it as one of my all-time favorite arcs from any anime or manga. Due to the long nature of Dressrosa, I'm splitting this video into two different sections. This first video will cover anime episodes 629 to 700, and the following video will be episodes 701 to 746. Guys, this video took a ton of time to make, so if you haven't already, please don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. But without further ado, let's hop right into Dressrosa. Upon the beginning of this arc, we see the consequence of Doflamingo's departure from his title as warlord, and we see chaos begin to ensue given the sudden cessation of power. In addition, we also see Akainu discuss Law's expulsion from the warlords of the sea, and we find out that a new admiral within the Fujitora was sent to deal with Law and his alliance. The continuation of Caesar Clown's capture leads us to understand that the capture of Caesar was a distraction in order to destroy the Smile Factory, which came as a surprise to me as I thought Caesar would play a more relevant role. We then are introduced to the executives of the Doflamingo family, Treble, Pika, and Diamante, and fellow others, and their character designs are really fitting of what Oda is trying to convey within them. I've noticed a trend that Oda often intentionally makes vile characters have an appearance suggestive of their nature and their personality. Treble, quite literally a doofus, is both gross, sloppy, and disgusting in his appearance, which matches his lack of intelligence in regard for the people in general. I really like that Oda does this with characters, and the rest of the executives follow the same scheme as well to an extent. We see the executives along with Doflamingo discuss their ploy to lure Luffy with Ace's Devil Fruit, the Flame Fruit, which is now reintroduced to the story all this time later. And it was really irritating to me to see Doflamingo in possession of Ace's Devil Fruit. As y'all know from whenever I discuss Marineford, Ace's death was really impactful to me, and I have no idea how Doflamingo came to be the wielder or the possessor of the Mera Mera no Mi, but it's absolutely heinous. But this shows just how great of a story One Piece is, that I'm sitting in my room truly upset that a fictional character's brother's devil fruit was taken. It sounds ridiculous on paper, but the story really does get to you. But I digress. We see the Straw Hats take hilarious disguises, all dressing like old men with wigs. I loved Luffy's grandpa appearance with his long beard particularly. In the beginning of this arc, the Straw Hats split into two separate groups, one within Law, Usopp, and Robin who go to Greenbit, a protection team consisting of Momo, Chopper, Brook, and Nami taking care of the ship, and the last squad of Luffy, Kinemon, Zoro, and Sanji who end up in the town as well. This town at first glance is very odd, having people living side by side with toys. As our squad of Luffy and Zoro, of course they get lost in their own ventures and end up splitting up within the city almost immediately. During this split up, we see a blind man in the alley that Zoro runs into, and his appearance to me immediately stood out. He was tall, he had a visible scar on his face, and was entirely intimidating. This man, who I presumed was Fujitora, we learn is a prolific gambler. However, due to his blindness, he is being swindled by owners of the casino and bar, and Luffy of course interjects, seeing this injustice. This is the first demonstration we see of Fujitora's power, as he doesn't need Luffy to interject at all. He handles them on his own, and we see these men fall before him to the floor, and it crushes the floor as well. This is a freaking wild moment, and I immediately became a fan of Fujitora at this time. Fujitora does exactly what I need for a character to stand out. He is entirely calm while emitting such an aura of power, and he does this crazy feat of strength upon first introduction, solidifying him as an extremely powerful character. Following the introduction of Fujitora, our crew again goes their separate ways and splits up even further. Zoro goes after Shisui, which vanishes due to what civilians call fairies, and this ensues one of my favorite comedy bits of the show, within Zoro's horrendous sense of direction, and we see him run all over Dressrosa, taking the wrong turn every chance he gets. Frankie is then left in responsibility of Luffy, and on their ventures of the town, they hear of a tournament for the Mera Mera no Mi, and Luffy's facial reaction upon hearing this is absolutely saddening. And as we expect, Luffy enters this tournament. This is the first proper tournament arc within One Piece, and I'm glad it was just Luffy amongst our crew within the tournament. I find tournaments are often overplayed and overused, and during this tournament, the time is instead spent on new characters that dive into the backstory of some of these legends of One Piece. One of these individuals being Don Chinzhao, who has a grudge against Garp, and as a result against his bloodline too. Luffy is thereby the target of Don Chinzhao's wrath and anger the entire tournament. Being able to see within Chinzhao's backstory Garp at a younger age really excited me. Garp is one of my favorite individuals within the story, and knowing how at his prime he was unquestionably one of the strongest humans to ever live is amazing, and being Roger's one of his only rivals. Within this tournament, as well as Jesus Burgess, one of Blackbeard's men, a captain of one of Blackbeard's ships, and I'm glad to see a crewmate of Blackbeard within this tournament because I believe Blackbeard will be one of the final antagonists of this show, and getting to know his crew will only add to the legend that makes Blackbeard a god tier antagonist. My favorite character within this tournament is Bartolomeo. He is a hated man within the tournament for his crude behavior and his demeanor. At first, I was confused to how he was winning until I finally got to see his barrier fruit directly. It's a super cool fruit, and when I saw the fruit, I immediately thought of Meliodas' full counter and the ability to repel attacks. Bartolomeo in his personality is an embodiment of us, the fans of One Piece and Luffy. He's the perfect comedic character for this arc who actually has some huge moments and serves to aid the Straw Hats and be a very formidable ally. What I love most about Bartolomeo is the continual fanboy nature when he encounters any of the Straw Hats, viewing them as true stars and legends, as we the fans also would if we were in One Piece and in his position. Rebecca is the obvious waifu of this arc, who has an amazing outfit, or lack thereof. Rebecca's story serves to show us, the audience, and Luffy how Doflamingo came into power, and she exposes us to the injustices of this city. If anyone disagrees with or disobeys Doflamingo, they're imprisoned or killed. Upon learning Rebecca is the granddaughter of King Riku, I understood why she wants the Mera Mera no Mi. She wants it so she can gain power and take back her kingdom. Due to her lineage, she is continually hated upon by the crowd, and is treated as if she's the scum of the kingdom, which breaks my heart. Under her hard demeanor, it's clear she wants to bring truth to this kingdom, and expose Doflamingo for what he is, and to purify her family name. Being reintroduced to Bellamy in this arc was a great thing. He served such a pivotal role to Skypiea due to his discussion of dreams that Blackbeard chimed in on, and throughout this arc, he serves a pivotal role for me, from disliking him as a character to rooting for his development. The last notable individual within this tournament, up until Sabo, who I'll discuss later in this video, was Cavendish. Cavendish has an amazing design, an arrogant nature, and Hollywood-esque ambitions as a pirate, seeking fame and status. Cavendish has a great transition throughout this arc, and he left really a notable impression on me. This tournament has characters who at first glance and without any previous knowledge of, I wouldn't expect them to really impress me that much. All these are completely brand new characters for the most part, and they leave such an impact on me, which is a testament to Oda as a writer. The exchange meeting at Greenbit so far has been one of my favorite parts of this arc, for obvious reason. We see Fujitora, Law, and Doflamingo face off. But prior to this meeting, whilst in Dressrosa running around, Sanji meets Violet, who is another beautifully designed character who has been under the thumb of Doflamingo. She reveals to Sanji that Doflamingo never truly resigned from his Shichibukai title, which came as a surprise to me, and as a result, the Straw Hats in Law are set up to be trapped. During the scouting of Greenbit, Robin and Usopp are captured by the Tontada, who are entirely adorable. From their small appearance, their naivety, and utter trust in people, they won me over. During their interactions, Usopp's tall tales to the Tontada, building up his grandiose reputation, really did make me laugh. However, this part of the arc soon took a much more intense swing. During the confrontation of the Marines and Law, Fujitora asked Law if the Straw Hats are merely working as subordinates under him, which wouldn't abdicate Law's warlord title, or if they were equals, which would. Fujitora here clearly gives Law the go-ahead to simply lie and keep his title, but Law doesn't, and he says that the Straw Hats are working side by side with him as partners, which I loved. Fujitora's justice ensues, and we see Fujitora summon a meteor from the sky, which was groundbreaking to me. This admiral is entirely winning me over as my favorite, and we've hardly seen much of him. During Law's escape as he's being pursued by both Doflamingo and Fujitora, we see Law obviously outclassed. Doflamingo reveals to Law that he was in fact a celestial dragon, which came as an utter shock. After Sabaody, my impression of celestial dragons were that they were spoiled, unintelligent nobles. But Doflamingo, with his mastery of his devil fruit, haki, and immense power and influence, breaks this mold. What's unique is that out of the 20 royal families, his is the only one who left their home of Mary Joie. By his status, he's immune to the punishment of the world government, and as a result is able to toe the line of treachery without punity. The Straw Hats on the ship, who are in possession of Caesar, are nearby to Greenbit, and after a ton of commotion from their battle with Giola, one of Doflamingo's family, and a giant fish, Doflamingo is alerted to their presence and then flies towards the Straw Hats. At this moment within the story, I had no idea what to expect. I had immense trepidation regarding the safety of the Straw Hats, but in a moment I rewatched countless times and texted my One Piece friend upon immediately, before Doflamingo hurts our beloved crew, then Smoke Sanji appears and wants all the damn smoke with Doflamingo. There has never been a more hyped Sanji moment for me personally, and upon seeing this, I absolutely freaked out. Although obviously outclassed by Doflamingo, he was acknowledged by Doffy as a powerful opponent. Our man Law then arrives and saves Sanji, and tells the rest of the Straw Hats to go to Zou and get the hell out of here. During all this, Doffy is still going towards the Straw Hats, and Fujitora's warship is also incoming, and those on the Sunny within Brook, Chopper, Nami, Sanji, Momo, and Caesar shoot off in the distance where there is no clouds, as we find out through Law that the only way Doflamingo can fly is because he attaches his strings to the clouds, which is really cool. At this point in the story, I truly believe Doflamingo has the most mastery over his devil fruit that I've ever seen anyone wield. As a villain, he is by far the most compelling to me at this point as well. As an audience, Oda convinced us to hate the Celestial Dragons, and for good reason. He is the embodiment of this hatred as an audience we possess towards them. Doflamingo and Law then fight once more, and in a losing fight for Law, there was another moment that brought me goosebumps. When Law is asked why he believes in the Straw Hats so much, Law tells him that D is sure to bring up a storm once again. And we see the visible striations in Doffy's face, clearly filled with rage at the concept of D, which in part 2 of this video we'll discuss, because I am so fascinated with this idea and this concept that was introduced to us. To see Law, one of my favorite characters, have utmost faith in the Straw Hats makes me truly happy. The duo of Law and Luffy is something that I've really wanted ever since they were first introduced to each other within Sabaody. During this time when the chaos ensues in Greenbit, Frankie learns about Soldier's plan to destroy the Smile Factory as well and start a revolution within the kingdom. Soldier's exposition serves to show us the truth of Dressrosa's tragic history, and I'd be lying to tell you if I didn't tear up upon finding it out. Doflamingo and his family swept in like a plague, and due to Doflamingo's string fruit, he was able to manipulate the bodies of the military and former King Riku, and as a result, they were painted as the villains of this dark history. Riku was willing to give up all his wealth, his life, and his throne in order to protect his people, but Doflamingo didn't care. He wanted it all and more. Doflamingo's rise to power through such treachery further served to demonstrate the level of a villain that he is. This is the new world. There aren't villains with weak motives, albeit despite Hody Jones. But Doflamingo is a warlord, a celestial dragon, and an underground trader who works directly for one of the 4 emperors. He is on a completely whole nother level. Soldier, who I suspected correctly was indeed Rebecca's father, he informs us the nature of what happens with toys and why they're so present on this island. The toys are created from real individuals due to the Hobby no Mi that one of the Don Quixote family possesses. Upon the use of this member of the family within Sugar, all memory of the toys are lost to the people they knew, and the toys are forced to serve under the family at the factory. This would be my worst nightmare imaginable. I already have a fear of losing memory, but to have the memory of me lost within those I love, and having to watch them live their day-to-day without the knowledge of my existence would be heartbreaking. The Hobby no Mi is one of the most dangerous devil fruits we've come across thus far within the story. Due to the sheer nature of its threat, you can create an endless amount of slaves with no repercussions. Additionally, it seems the fruit allows the user to stop aging, which is entirely perplexing to me, resulting in Sugar remaining in a childlike form indefinitely. As a testament to Soldier's love and loyalty to his now orphaned daughter, he raised her and took care of her, despite his toy form, the lack of memory his daughter had of him, and his lack of body, if you can even call it that. Rebecca, the tragic gladiator, has no memory of his father. She's ridiculed by the people, and had her mother killed by Diamante. She's such a tragic individual who I found myself rooting for her and Kiros' vengeance. A cool moment of the tournament was seeing Luffy and Don Shinjao fight and witnessing their hockeys clash. The scene had no business going that hard, but the animation was absolutely beautiful. From outside the Coliseum, Bartolomeo is instructed by Zoro and Kinemon to bring Luffy to talk. Once Luffy arrives, he speaks with the rest of the crew. Their favorite moment of this arc happened. Frankie, in tears, explained to Luffy that he can't go on with the plan, that he can't just simply destroy the factory and then that's it. He can't abandon the Tontata people in this kingdom to fight Doflamingo alone. All the while, my emotions are already getting jarred by the badass theme playing, and we see Luffy grab the snail and give Frankie permission to go all out. In fact, he gives the entire crew permission to go all out, including Sanji, who launches a counterattack versus Big Mom's ship. I'm a sucker for OSTs playing with a badass speech, and I didn't see this kind of level of intensity coming from a Frankie speech. And from there, we see Law and Doflamingo arrive, and in front of our heroes, we see Law get shot by Doflamingo. In response, Zoro charges Doflamingo, but he's stopped by Fujitora, which is an entirely unfavorable matchup. In this moment, the disparity in strength is entirely shown. Fujitora is simply on another level. This fight doesn't continue long, however, and Fujitora and Daffy fly back to the palace with Law. Within the Colosseum, we see Bellamy fail his assassination mission on Luffy, which bodes well for his potential character development. All the while, one of the best moments of this arc happens again with a certain blonde hair entering the arena. Upon his entrance, he tells Luffy that in fact the Mera Mera no Mi will be his. In this moment, I teared up upon seeing Luffy's realization that Sabo was not dead as he thought, but all these years later, he's still here. It was so sentimental to see Luffy, a character never super sad or emotional, truly shed tears and be a little brother around Sabo. The again discussion of inherited will takes place, and this concept in the show truly excites me. Sabo has taken on the will of his fallen brother Ace, and just as it was stated in Marineford, even though his bloodline was extinguished, there would be a man who would come and carry on his will. From this point in the tournament, to my enjoyment, Sabo takes the place of Luffy in the tournament, and we are thereby able to see how advanced of a fighter Sabo truly is. Luffy is given an escape route from Sabo and then begins to exit the palace. Most notably in Sabo's fight, I enjoyed watching him use his Dragon Claw ability to destroy Jesus Burgess, showing how separate of a level he is on compared to Jesus. It was also interesting to see how the hero of the Colosseum, with an Executive Diamante, unveil his fighting prowess and his absurdly unique devil fruit, the Ripple Ripple fruit. Personally, if I was in his position, I'd opt for something cooler, but to each their own. Zoro, Luffy, and Kinemon meet up outside the arena and to get into disguises, in which Luffy is in a carp suit, which I found adorable. In the Flower Hill while this takes place, Kyros unveils Operation SOP, which aims to knock out Sugar, which would turn the toys back to humans, and as a result, have memories returned to all those who knew the toys. This would send the kingdom into chaos and likely bring about revolutionary acts by the citizens, giving them a window to defeat Doflamingo. Within our crew, Usopp is tasked with knocking out Sugar, and Frankie will go cause commotion at the front of the toy house, in which he squares off with Senor Pink and Mach Vice, who uses the Tun fruit. Doflamingo and Fujitora are in the throne room, and Fujitora's motives are revealed. Fujitora wants to destroy the Seven Warlord system, which causes a brief clash between Doflamingo and Fujitora. Fujitora at this point in time is merely towing the line, trying to keep Dressrosa safe, and thankfully he's not siding with Doflamingo. Fujitora has made such a huge running in my mental pull for being the best admiral thus far. His intentions seem sound, and he doesn't seem fully on the side of the Navy, world government, or the pirates. What intrigues me is what the hell has Fujitora been doing before the world recruitment by the Navy? He's clearly an older individual who's unquestionably one of the strongest individuals on the planet, so what was he doing until then? Was he perhaps a normal barkeep casually having a busted devil fruit, being over 10 feet tall, and clearly trained in combat? I hope Oda truly touches on this. Outside the palace, Zoro, Luffy, and Kinemon enter and are guided by Wicca. Wicca and Zoro's interactions this entire arc has been genuine comedy. Wicca constantly bickering with Zoro regarding directions, and Zoro obviously going the wrong way continually. Once they arrive in the palace, they're guided by Violet through the palace until they're met by Pika, who has the stone fruit with an abhorrent voice, which Pika very much so is insecure about. Zoro tells Luffy and Violet to go ahead without him, and he'll take care of Pika. One of the continual themes of Zoro is that he is truly the embodiment of the right hand of the king. Whatever Luffy needs, whatever foes are before him, he takes them on unquestionably, and Luffy has utmost faith that when Zoro says he'll do something, he will. While some of the Don Quixote pirates went to confront the toy house, we see Kyros on the elevator and he quickly beats the Don Quixote pirates. However, Lau, with the capital G, arrives and makes quick work of Kyros. However, the Tontata allow Kyros to escape and head to the throne room, in which Kyros encounters Gladius, who has the Rupture fruit. Thankfully, Luffy arrives, and Soldier, Luffy, and Violet arrive to the throne room and overhear Daffy's interrogation of Law regarding the Straw Hats' connection and plan with the Tontata. Within the port, we witness Operation SOP. And for SOP, our Sniper King Usopp is tasked with getting Sugar to be tricked into eating the hottest spice in the world. Our two heroes have a big plate in front of them. They must sneak past all the workers and pirates, and additionally, bypass Treble, Doflamingo's chief of staff, whom at first glance looks an oaf, but as Robin observes, he has a powerful devil fruit and amazing precision. We also learn that many of the Tontata working in the factory are under the assumption that they were helping to find a cure for Princess Moncherie, who is the Tontata princess we have yet to truly witness. Robin tricks Treble to leave Sugar alone, and the Tontata make their move. To our dismay, Sugar makes quick work of a good portion of the Tontata and turns them to toys, and thereby they were immediately forgotten. Upon this, Sugar calls Treble back, and Treble realizes Robin's antics and proceeds to fight against her and the remaining Tontata, and he turns Robin into a toy. At this point, I was extremely worried. One of the integral members of the Straw Hats, the woman they wage war against the world government for, was forgotten, and this broke my heart knowing that she was trapped within that toy, completely alone, and erased from the minds of her friends. Usopp runs from this situation in a cowardly way as he does, but the Tontata, despite their defeat, do not submit to Treble, and instead still believe in the Soj King. Against Usopp's own desire, he turns around and tries to fight Treble and Sugar, and inevitably loses. Sugar, in response, feeds Usopp the fake grape that they intended for her, and as a result, upon eating it, Usopp made a terrible expression of pain from the amount of heat, and it shocked Sugar so much it knocked her unconscious, resulting in Operation SOP being a success. Suddenly, Dressrosa and the port are in chaos. Many of the pirates from the tournament, notably Cavendish, are turned back human, and all throughout the kingdom, the memories of their loved ones suddenly return, and these toys are set free from their indubitable slavery. Soj King, Usopp, has done what the Tontata believe he could all of this time. Usopp, now the savior of the toys, is viewed as a godly figure, and they raise him into the sky despite Usopp's immense pain, and raise praise upon him and a hilarious depiction of Usopp in a Christ-like position. Amidst the chaos within the gladiatorial arena, Sabo claims the Mera Mera no Mi and destroys the arena, punching through to the bottom of the Colosseum. And as a result, Sabo, Koala, and Rebecca meet up with Robin and Usopp, along with the Tontata, and Sabo explains the Revolutionary Army's mission here. I'd love for Oda to touch more on the Revolutionary Army and their structure. I find them fascinating, and knowing that Sabo is second in command within Chief of Staff makes it all the more interesting. I'd love to know how he climbed the ranks and what other powerful members they have besides Dragon and Sabo. On the main surface in the palace, we see Kyros return to his true gladiatorial body and charge Doflamingo, cutting his head off instantaneously. The body of Doflamingo was a string clone, but Kyros fights off more of the Don Quixote family, including Buffalo. Law is then rescued by Luffy, who is unable to get the Sea Prism Stone off Law, but thank God Law is no longer captured. As Luffy begins to square up with Doflamingo, we see Pika alter the landscape, and he forces Luffy, Law, Kyros, and Viola outside it, and Doflamingo reveals his ultimate play, the birdcage. This ability seems absolutely terrifying, creating a birdcage of string that can destroy buildings, stone, and such strong substances. It's truly a death trap. Not even the radio devices work, and everyone within this cage is essentially cut off from the rest of the world. Doflamingo, in an announcement to the kingdom, makes a game to end this birdcage. He puts up a bounty on Luffy, Zoro, Kinemon, Kyros, Viola, Rebecca, Sabo, and Usopp, whose bounty reigned the highest, which was hilarious. He's finally getting the fame he long believes he has deserved. He tells the citizens if they capture these individuals and bring them to him, he'll end the cage. The other way they can end the game is to kill Doflamingo, but given the difficulty of that, many of the citizens turn on our heroes and try to bring them in. Following this, in one of my favorite moments, we see Luffy promise to Rebecca that he'll defeat Doflamingo. And upon this statement, Law reminds Luffy that this will inflict Kaido's wrath upon them, but Luffy doesn't care. Instead, he believes in saving this kingdom. A continual motif of Luffy is his reckless abandon for his ideals, and this continual thematic nature of Luffy is one of the reasons I love him as a protagonist. Luffy, Zoro, and Law run through the city to find Doflamingo. We see Pika's high-pitched annoying voice, and Luffy, lacking restraint, makes fun of it, thus enacting the rage of Pika, but they eventually escape. Luffy meets up with some of the fellow gladiators within Cavendish, Chinzhou, Harujin, Elisabello, and more, and they want to take down Doflamingo as well, which upsets Luffy because he wants to be the one to do so. However, this group comes to a consensus. They will help Straw Hat defeat Doflamingo and bring down the Don Quixote executives, and they go their separate ways. What a ragtag group of individuals. Upon Luffy and Law's quest, we're revealed that Law's grudge against Doflamingo stems from a vengeance for Corazon, who was an important character to Law and whom Doflamingo killed years ago. This backstory is something I'm excited to discuss. As the chaos of the birdcage continues, we see Frankie face off once again versus Senor Pink, and I find their interactions to be quite hysterical. Both are extremely hard-boiled of individuals, and their fight embodies a man's fight, in which it's a slugfest, no dodging, and pure brute strength. Sabo and Fujitora face off in the city, and this was an amazing fight for me in this arc. They truly seem at a standstill, however both clearly holding back. Fujitora uses his immense power to try to defeat Sabo, and Sabo, now learning through battle his new power, was absolutely visually incredible. They seem to both be enjoying the fight together, and clearly their motivations differ, but both don't seek to destroy each other, and we see Fujitora's gambling tendency. He stated he had decided to bet his life on this course of action, this bet being specifically on Luffy toppling the warlord. Within the scrap heap, Kinemon is reunited with Kanjuro, who had hidden inside the wall, and he was not what I expected. I personally expected someone similar looking to Kinemon, but Kanjuro looks very clown-like with a funny devil fruit. It's really similar to Sai's ability from Naruto, except Kanjuro can't draw. As Cavendish, Law, and Luffy enter the plateau, we see Sugar take her aim to turn Law and Luffy into toys, and since Luffy and Law are unaware of her, and it's likely they could easily be fooled into being touched and thereby forgotten. During the ascent of the plateau, Bartolomeo and Robin arrive, and Bartolomeo provides Law and Luffy with the ability to ascend the plateau and meet up with Rebecca, and then handle the toys they're currently fighting. Upon arriving at the flower field, Rebecca in her face-off with Diamante is saved by her father Kyros, and Luffy and Law arrive. In a perfectly timed scene, Rebecca gives them the keys, and Law is finally free from the Sea Prism Stone handcuffs, and they proceed ahead for the palace, leaving Diamante for Rebecca and Kyros. Sugar in waiting begins to approach the Straw Hats, and Usopp, knowing the potential outcome of this, begins to take aim for Sugar across a very long distance. This seems to be the first time Usopp awakens observation Haki, and he thankfully once again knocks out Sugar with a long-range snipe, and Law and Luffy ascend to confront Doflamingo and Treble. On top of his palace, Doflamingo reminisces to Treble about when he first met Law, recalling Law's anger for the world and his desire to destroy everything. Bellamy speaks to Doffy, and Doffy tells Bellamy the difference between them. Bellamy wanted to become a pirate, and that's been his end goal, while Doflamingo's goal has been to destroy the entire world. Luffy and Law witness this, and they begin to fight Doflamingo. Doflamingo's string clone, and Bellamy's body now controlled by string as well. Luffy in anger does an amazing combination move with Law, using Room and Shambles combined with Red Hawk to have a glorious scene of Doflamingo getting punched. During their interaction, Law calls Luffy the worst, and Luffy acknowledging this says you two are from this generation, which seems to be the first reference Luffy ever makes to being cognizant that he's part of the worst generation, which was absolutely phenomenal. This obviously isn't Doflamingo's defeat. During the fight, Luffy and Law get split up, and Law and Doflamingo begin to have a discussion regarding how Doflamingo was temporarily able to fake his resignation of his warlord status, and it's revealed that Doflamingo knows something about a treasure on Marijois, allowing him to leverage his position. We don't know what this specific treasure is, but it must be something the world government doesn't want to be revealed. We also learn about the Eternal Life operation from the Opi Opi no Mi, but upon using this ability, the user would die. Doflamingo wants this on himself, obviously, but Law would never do so. Doflamingo angrily laments that he gave Law everything, and Law still went against him. And Law responds that it wasn't Doflamingo who gave him everything, but Corazon. Wow, this arc has been extremely long in length, but up until this point, so much has transpired. There's been so much exposition, and it's enabled us to truly feel connected to Dressrosa. Throughout this arc, I've loved how Doflamingo has truly solidified himself as my favorite villain of One Piece. A celestial dragon, warlord, pirate, who seeks the annihilation of the entire world. Also seeing Law truly seeking vengeance is something I can get behind. The reintroduction of Sabo was something I did not expect, but something I am absolutely so excited for. I really love Sabo, and despite only being in the story a short period of time, he's quickly earned his spot as one of my favorites. So far, this arc has been the second best arc for me, just behind Marineford, and I hear it only gets better. Due to the length of this video, this is going to be split into two parts, and the next part will be starting from where we left off here, with the flashback of Law and all it entails. So guys, this video took a super long time to make, so if you enjoyed some of the video, please consider sharing it and leaving feedback along with a subscription. Part 2 will be out very soon, so please be on the lookout for it. As always, I'll catch you all next time.